Hello, I'm still not Corey, and I'm also still not a homophobe, but the people in the TikToks that we're watching today are homophobes, so let's enjoy that. But first, are you gay? Answer down in the comments. Let me know. Leave a comment telling me if you're gay or not. I need to know. This is very important. Also very important is checking out my Patreon. It's what lets me make these videos for you, or you could check out my merch. We have got Stupid Baby t-shirts and we've got a whole bunch of gay stuff. Very on theme. If you are gay, you need this. You need it in your life. I'm telling you, you gotta get it. Or something. Let's start the video. Obvious disclaimer, do not go and send hate to these people either on TikTok or here in my comments. I will not allow that. I will just delete the comments and probably block you. They may be homophobic, but you should not be sending them internet hate. Okay.
So if you're gay, I'm totally fine with that. I just don't want this being taught in my kid's school. That's all I'm saying.
So we can't be ourselves is what you're saying.
I'm not saying you can't be yourself. I'm just saying leave your personal stuff at home.
See, this is interesting, right? It's always, being gay is personal stuff. But a straight teacher can talk to the kids about, their husband or their wife or their kid. All of that is fine. People are perfectly fine with teachers talking about personal stuff, generally. Just so long as that personal stuff isn't gay. Like, there is no two ways about it. If you don't want gay people interacting with your child, that's because you're homophobic. Like, if you've got a blanket ban on gay people talking generally about being gay around children, you are homophobic. And, people will say, oh, teachers should just teach, kids. They shouldn't be telling them about their lives. But, like, I went to school. Teachers would sometimes talk about their lives. And that was fine. Like, it's not that big a deal. And I get that some people genuinely believe that teachers should not share anything about their lives outside of the classroom, in the classroom, right? I understand why some people feel that way, but ultimately teachers are people, and pretending like they're not, I don't know if that's necessarily the best thing for kids' education. I don't think it's incredibly harmful for kids to know that teachers are people and they have lives outside of the classroom. And to add to that, I find that a lot of people that say, oh, teachers shouldn't share anything with kids, gay or straight, they don't actually mean that. There obviously are people that genuinely believe that, but there are some people that use that belief as a defense for their homophobia. They say, oh, I don't think that anyone should be sharing anything with kids in the classroom because they don't want gay people sharing that they're gay with kids in the classroom, right? They don't want their kids knowing that their teacher is gay. But when you actually interrogate that, when you actually kind of take it to its logical conclusions, they don't really believe it. They don't really agree with it. Because, like, where is the line? Are teachers allowed to have pictures of their families on their desks in school? Are they allowed to wear their wedding rings? Because kids will know that they're married if they wear a wedding ring. Are they allowed to tell them that they're pregnant? Oh, they go off on maternity leave. Oh, we can't tell them that they're pregnant because, oh no, the kids will know something about the teacher's personal lives. Ultimately, people are mostly okay with kids knowing little bits and pieces about the teacher's personal life. They just aren't okay with kids knowing that the teacher is gay because they have an issue with that. It's not having an issue with people knowing about the teacher's personal lives, it's having an issue with kids knowing about their teacher being gay. The gay thing is the issue. It's not the personal life thing. It's just such a front, and it's so frustrating that people try to prop up their homophobia under the guise of that.
Well, that's discrimination, and I feel disrespected.
Okay, well, I'm gonna bring some friends in tomorrow. How about that?
Okay, how about you do that?
Thank you.
Okay.
Kids, I would like for you to meet Ty. My name's Ty. I'm a gang member, and all I do is rob and kill people. So if you feel like you was born in a soft-ass family, be a gang member.
Can I just... Dude... Comparing being gay and telling kids I'm gay to someone being a gang member and telling kids to be gang members... Oh my lord, you're just showing that you're homophobic. There's no two ways about it. If you think that being gay is comparable to being a gang member, that is straight up homophobia. Being gay isn't a lifestyle choice. Not that being a gang member is a lifestyle choice, but there's more choice involved in being a gang member than there is in being gay. Of course, kids are groomed into gangs, so I'm not saying that every single person in a gang has just made a terrible choice and they're a bad person. What I'm saying is that joining a gang isn't quite comparable to being gay, because gangs are generally pretty bad, right? I'm pretty sure we can all agree that gangs are objectively not a great thing, whereas being gay is fine. It's a perfectly fine thing to be. It's not inherently harmful. It's not bad in any way, whereas being in a gang is pretty objectively not a good thing. Like, it's a thing that causes harm to other people pretty much inherently, right? That's kind of what gangs do. Whereas being gay is just liking people that are like you. That is all that is. It's not really comparable to, you know, gang members that kind of murder people or run drugs or guns. Not really the same thing, right? I just find it so funny that this guy thinks he's making a point and the very first thing he does is be like, gay, gang, same thing, dude. Immediately, people are going to write off what you're saying because you're just being blatantly homophobic. Just blatantly homophobic. It's like comparing being gay to being a terrorist, right? Like, it's just, those aren't the same things. It's apples and oranges here.
Now, kids, Andrew.
So I overdosed on every drug you can think of, and I still overdose on every drug you can think of.
See, what he's trying to do here is convey that being gay is a harmful lifestyle choice. Just like being a gang member or being a drug addict. Like, no, I'm sorry, but being gay is not the same as being a drug addict who overdoses on multiple different drugs. Those are not comparable things. They are very different, I'm afraid. So you in this hypothetical scenario bringing in gang members and drug addicts isn't quite the same as a teacher saying to his students, hey, I went to the zoo with my husband this weekend. Have any of you been to the zoo? What's your favorite animal? You see how those two things are completely fucking different? Yeah.
Now, I would like for you to meet Cinnamon.
So my name's Cinnamon, and I'm a hooker, and I add spice to your dad's life.
So now we're going the sexual route because being gay is inherently sexual to these people. Guys, listen. People that are LGBT, the queers, we're not inherently sexualizing our identities. We're not doing that. Yes, we can be sexual. Yes, we can be more sexually liberated. It's a bit of fun. That's fine. But we are not turning our identities into entirely sex. That's what you're doing. Maybe you, the homophobe watching this, should think about why you consider gay people to be inherently sexual. Why you think it's an inherently sexual thing for a man to be attracted to men instead of women. Like... There is so much projection here with homophobes. Dude, it is not the same thing for Mrs. West to say that she's actually got a wife and a kid. That's not the same as bringing in a prostitute who's like, hey kids, I have sex with your daddies for money. Those are not the same thing whatsoever. A child can very easily understand that someone has two mummies or two daddies more so than they can understand this is a prostitute that has sex with people for money. Come on, let's be realistic here. Teaching kids about gay people is not a bad thing. It is okay. You are just a fucking bigot and you're scared that your kid is not going to be as bigoted as you, so you need to hide all of that shit from them. Because let's actually interrogate this, right? You're comparing a teacher saying to kids, hey, I'm gay, to a gang member saying, hey kids, come join a gang. Or a drug addict saying, hey kids, come be a drug addict. Or a prostitute being like, hey kids, come be a prostitute. You are worried about kids being prostitutes and gang members and drug addicts because those things are inherently harmful to your child. People would generally be worried about kids becoming gang members because gang members can be murdered by other gang members. It's inherently unsafe. Being in a gang puts a target on your back. We all pretty much know that, right? Being a drug addict is pretty bad for your health. It's pretty difficult to be a drug addict and not to have it affect your lifestyle in an unhealthy way. That's why we don't want kids being drug addicts. It's pretty hard to be a prostitute and not be in a greater sense of danger than most people because it's an inherently pretty precarious work position, right? Like, you are more at risk of violence whilst you are a prostitute, generally. And that's one of the reasons that people don't want kids being prostitutes. That and our whole sort of societal aversion to selling sex. That as well. Now, those are the reasons that you don't want kids going into those professions or having those lifestyle habits, because they can be inherently harmful to your child and you care about your child's well-being. Now, being gay is not inherently harmful to your child. The reason that you don't want your kid to be gay isn't because you're worried for your child's well-being. It's because you don't like gay people and you don't want your kid to be one of them. Those are not the same thing. That's much more like not wanting your kid to support a football team that you hate. That's what that's more like. That's exactly as fucking insane as that is. Hey, no, I'm sorry. You cannot mention Manchester United in school because we are Man City fans in this home and I don't want my kid turning into a dirty Manchester United fan. That is literally what you fucking sound like, you goddamn psychopaths. What the shit?
Now, my friend Steven.
My name's Steven, and I make love to animals because I feel like I'm supposed to be an animal.
Yes, being gay, having sex with another consenting adult human being is the equivalent of having sex with an animal. Dude, like, Just because you don't like gay people, that doesn't mean that you are justified in hiding them from your kids. I'm sorry, that is just not how it works. Just because you feel a little bit icky when you think about two boys kissing, that doesn't mean that it's inherently harmful. What it means is that you need to get over that. You just need to get over it. Just be a big boy, pull on your big boy pants and watch some boys kiss and fucking get over it.
Why did you bring them here?
Because I thought we were teaching personal lives here.
See, this all becomes a lot simpler when you realize that sharing your personal life with the classroom isn't the issue. It's sharing something that's not safe or appropriate for children. See, the difference between what you have mentioned and, telling a kid that you're gay is that being gay isn't inherently unsafe or inappropriate for kids. It just isn't. You not liking something doesn't make it inappropriate. It just makes you a bigot. That's it. It's so funny to me, though, that this guy needs to build a straw man and play so incredibly dumb just to barely make a point. Like, just so barely. Like, amazing. I can't play this audio or the video will get a copyright strike, so I'm just gonna make the music with my mouth. Enjoy. Ba 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 da ba 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 da ba 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 da ba 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 ba. I'm not surprised. Well, that was a bit of fun. Jesus Christ. Hearing all the no uterus, no opinion people start saying you don't need a uterus to be a woman when Pride Month starts. What are you trying to say here? These two things aren't conflicting. They don't conflict with each other. See, no uterus, no opinion is something we say when we're talking about abortion. If abortion laws aren't going to affect you because you don't have a uterus, then your opinion on it shouldn't really matter as much as the people that it's actually going to affect. That's the point that's being made there. And saying you don't need a uterus to be a woman, it doesn't conflict with that. Because you don't need a uterus to be a woman. You can have a hysterectomy and still be a woman. In fact, you can have a uterus and not be a woman. Not just via being intersex, but, by being a trans man. Like, these things aren't conflicting. Just because you think they are, that doesn't mean that they are. And instead of making, snidey, snarky TikToks where you sit and you're like, oh, I'm not surprised, blah, 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 maybe you should just ask and be like, hey, I don't understand this thing. Can someone explain this to me? But you wouldn't do that, actually. You probably would not do that. The people that make these kinds of TikTok wouldn't do that because they don't care to understand. They don't want to understand. They just don't like that trans people are out there existing. They don't like it. They don't like that, trans women are women. That bugs them. And so they need to be all snarky and rude about it because, because they feel threatened or something along those lines, right? Like, ultimately, yes, you don't need a uterus to be a woman. And if you don't have a uterus, then your opinion matters less when it comes to abortion laws because those laws don't really affect you. It's pretty much that simple. There's just nothing there in this TikTok. You're stating two things that don't conflict with each other and acting as though they do. And look, if the reason that you've linked both of these statements is because you're trying to say something along the lines of, if you're not a woman, you can't decide or define what a woman is, there are plenty of women that are not transphobic. There are plenty of women that believe that trans people are who they say they are. This isn't contradictory, and this isn't a situation of people who aren't women making choices about women. That's just not what is happening here. Just because you're in a little turf bubble, that doesn't mean that the rest of the world agrees with you. In fact, I'm pretty sure that plenty of women in the UK are actually kind of fine with trans people. At least that's what polls show. So, what? What is your point? You don't like trans people? That's not the fault of trans people, that's the fault of you. You need to sort yourself out. Look internally, consider why you feel the way that you feel without projecting outwards, and maybe you'll be a little less bigoted.
Feelings that I had for this girl were very, very real, like 100% very real. But when you say yes to the gospel, you don't allow your feelings to be your God anymore. Yeah, Jesus becomes your God. So it's like, well, what do I do with these feelings? What do I do with these attractions? Well, you acknowledge them. You don't suppress them, you don't ignore them, you don't try, this is not like a conversion therapy type thing. Yeah. It's like...
This is very sad. Can we just sit and think for a minute about how much damage organized religion does to queer people? You have people that have an attraction to, the same gender as themselves, and they feel that they need to avoid that. That's shocking. That is actually shocking. It's perfectly natural and totally fine to fall in love with someone that is the same gender as you. And anyone that tells you different must have some kind of agenda. And you should not listen to them on that. And it's really sad seeing people that identified as not straight at one point say that they are straight purely because of religion. It is so sad to see people deny themselves happiness because of religion. There's no material proof of religion, which is fine. You can believe in whatever religion you want, but if you start harming yourself in that way because of religion, like, you really gotta weigh it up and think, like, why? Why am I doing this? All we know is this life. We have no knowledge of anything outside of the world that we live in, of the universe that we're in, of our human lives. And people are sacrificing their own lives. They are making themselves feel worse. They are repressing themselves. They're pushing down feelings that are natural and fine and perfectly healthy because of some unprovable, unknowable thing that they think might happen in the future. Like, that is so incredibly sad. It is so sad. And when you really think about it, why would any loving God create people who aren't straight, only for them to have to fight that in themselves constantly just to achieve salvation? That's ridiculous, I think, especially when you look at nature and see that there were plenty of animals that exhibit homosexual tendencies, you know? Like, gay people have existed for as long as people have existed. Why would you do that? Why would that be the case if it was evil and wrong and bad? It's not evil and wrong and bad. It isn't. This is the issue with organized religion, because you've got the faith, you've got the text, you've got all of that sort of stuff, and it's always filtered and forced through this lens of oppression, because that's what organized religion wants to do. It wants to control people. And anyone that is deviant, anyone that deviates from the norm, anyone that removes themselves from what is expected, they are crushed back down and squashed in, because you cannot deviate from the norm. You cannot deviate from what is set out before you in organized religion. That's literally the entire point of it. That is why I have an issue with organized religion. I don't have a problem with people being spiritual. I don't have a problem with people believing in God or anything like that. You do you. You live your life. But when you start harming yourself or others because of that belief, that's too much, man. That's too much.
You have to understand that when we say yes to Jesus, everything else is a no. Even those feelings that are very real, even those thoughts that are very real, you constantly surrender them. Some people tell me, Nat, you should just accept yourself. Just love yourself the way God made you. You're suppressing yourself. I hope that you can be happy one day. Well, no, when I said yes to the gospel, I said yes. I said no to myself. Yeah. I said yes to denying myself every single day.
I don't have anything to add to this. Like, I'm not even angry. This is just sad. Like, this is sad. People get brainwashed into religion, indoctrinated, and they believe that denying themselves of themselves is a good and righteous thing to do. Like, you're not causing harm to anyone. If you're not causing harm, then what's the problem? Like, really, like, let's actually think about this. What is the problem with being gay? What is the problem with acting on those urges? What's the problem with just living that lifestyle? You don't hurt anyone. You don't harm anyone. That's the way that you were made if you believe in some kind of creator. So what's the problem? Why would you not allow yourself to just live as yourself? That's horrible.
So when people tell me that, I actually want nothing to do with it.
This is insane. Like, this girl has just been brainwashed into literally denying herself. She's not even denying that she's denying herself. She's proud of it. That is horrific. That is genuinely too far, I think. It's not okay. It's not okay. Wow, I don't even want to end it there, because that is, whew, that is low. Well, that was a bit of a downer ending. Sorry about that. But if you want to see me react to more homophobic TikToks, let me know down in the comments. You can send them to me on Discord or Instagram or Twitter or wherever. Links are down there. You know that. You can join my Patreon if you want. You see my people going past here. My patrons going past here. You get lots of cool stuff on my Patreon. You get bonus videos and some other things. I can also shout out your name if you're on the right tier. And that's what's going to happen now with some of the people going past here. Look, I'm going to say their names. I'm finding them right now and I'm about to say them. So a massive thank you to Maul, Christopher A. Butler, Ataraxia25, Maxwell17, Denito, and Brad the Music Duck. Goodness me, this is amazing. Thank you all so much for supporting me. Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking and commenting and subscribing and all of that lovely stuff. I'm going to go now. Goodbye.